man. I've been ready for real.
Yeah. Bro, it's really crazy how far you could get with just a laptop and a phone. Like,
Yeah.
you make so much stuff happen.
I mean, nowadays, like technology, man, is crazy. You feel me? Like, no matter where you at. That's why I tell people now, it's like, it don't matter, you feel me? Like, you can reach anybody, literally. You feel me? Like, social media, man, it's crazy.
Yeah, it really is crazy. But we got a very, very, very special one today. The producer room powered by producer culture. Always say, like, comment, subscribe, comment who you want to see next. TNT has been popping up in every single interview we talk about.
TNT, you know what I'm saying? I hit up TNT, I hit up
with people, sending my sounds out to them. And then I think it was TNT hit me up and told me to send them a pack.
TNT killed it, as well as this
is fucking up.
Yeah. TNT's going too crazy. Whether we talk to Furno, Forever Rollin', Flex, Tjay, Palace, Stardust season pops up every single time. So it's only right to get the GOAT.
Pipe that shit on TNT.
Overdue.
There's too much to cover. I'm already worried we're gonna forget something, but we're gonna try our best to go through the whole rise of TNT. This isn't even a back and forth interview. This is the rise of TNT, kind of going through it all. But the craziest thing to me is, like, it's a lot of things that you did that was just a matter of like hard work. Like, it wasn't special opportunities or this or that. It was just, like I said, you had a phone, you had a laptop, and just going too crazy.
Man, really, all of it been hard work, for real. You know, I mean, it's been like I had like breaks along the way, people to help me. Like, I've been in good situations, but it really just, you feel me? I mean, even like to this day, you know, like what I've been doing is I still try to outwork. You feel me? Like, knowing that there's people that's working harder than me, you know. So even from the start, it's just like I always say, you can be more talented, like you can have more talent, but you can't outwork me. You feel me?
Yeah, that's definitely a fact. And if you think he's lying, wait till we go through what we're gonna go through, and then you might be sitting there feeling stupid. But yeah, let's take it all the way back to the beginning. So everything starts off basically in South Carolina, right? Where are you from exactly?
Something. It's a little city close to Columbia. Yeah, it's ducked off.
Yeah. And it's a little bit of a music scene there, right? Like, it's definitely a few other pretty established producers at this point from there.
Now it's like it's building now. You know, it's like once you build that foundation, it's like stuff starts to branch off. So people actually starting to branch out further than just something and actually start to do things on their own. So the music scene is definitely building.
Yeah. So at what point, you're in Sumter, South Carolina, at what point does music enter your life, and at what point do you start really making beats?
Man, music been in it kind of like, because my brother used to rap.
Mm-hmm.
So like I was around it, but like music entered for me. I was staying in Tennessee though. Like, it didn't actually enter in South Carolina. I was staying in Tennessee and I ended up moving back. You know what I'm saying? I was actually recording, but I was making beats, but I wasn't like really good. And I wasn't making any money from it. So I was just mainly engineering. So, I mean, I really started like going full time with the beats I probably said like 4 years ago, for real, where it was just like consistently beats. Yeah. And I was actually good at it, for real. Well, I feel like I was good at it.
So that's around 2017. You start going full on into beats. You actually, you went to music school, right?
Yeah, Full Sail.
You ended up going to Full Sail to do like audio engineering for school, but you were playing football before that, right?
Yeah, I played a little bit of football.
Yeah. So you ended up playing football in school. TNT fun facts right there.
Nah, definitely.
Were you already making beats before you went to Full Sail, or is that really what got you like everything you needed to really start doing it?
I think I was like I had like a little broken laptop.
Hmm.
I was making them, but like, I mean, you could have FL and just play around, you feel me? So I had it, I was just playing around with it. But when I actually got like my launch box from from Full Cell, they sent me a Mac, they sent me a mic, they sent me everything that I needed. So at that point, it was like, all right, bet I can do what I need to do. Now I actually got like a legit laptop. You feel me? Before it was just like I had a laptop that somebody just gave to me. Yeah, I couldn't really do nothing on it, but I made do with it. So when they gave me that Mac, they gave me that launch box. It was like I took advantage of it and really just went crazy with it. You feel me?
Yeah, that's insane. At what point do you actually become TNT? Was that something you had always been doing, or just when you got the full sale pack and you started becoming official and really doing it?
Well, like you talking about like the name TNT or
Yeah.
like just uh I probably said like 2 years ago. I feel like 2 years ago I really became like people actually start being like, all right, that's TNT. Like even people around me, like I wouldn't even be called that. So I feel like just probably like 2 years ago, I feel like that's when it actually started.
Yeah. So it took a minute of grinding to kind of like evolve into the name.
Yeah, you gotta earn it. You gotta earn it because you can call yourself, but like people gotta look at you and be like, all right, that's him.
Yeah.
Because you can look and be like, yeah, that's my name, but like people gonna call you what they want to call you. You
Yeah.
know, I had to earn that right, so they like, yeah, that's him. You feel me?
Um, at what point, so you're at full sale, you start taking things seriously. At that point, you got the equipment you need to really start doing it daily, building onto it. At what point do you decide like going the YouTube route as the way to go when you first put up the channel? And what were those initial YouTube days like when you were trying to figure it out?
Man, it was a struggle. Like at first, I was just uploading like just to like play around. It wasn't even like nothing serious. I wasn't like consistently uploading like putting like pictures or anything. I was just uploading like every probably couple months. But then like met like everybody in Flower. That was a group of like it was a lot of producers that was doing YouTube. Once really like I got with them, they just showed me like if you do this, your YouTube will be high ours. So I'm looking at them. They already got 90,000 subscribers. You feel me? 80,000. I got like 5. So I'm like, obviously, what they're doing is right. You feel me? They
Mhm.
got these subscribers for a reason. So I'm gonna do exactly what they say. So really, like learning from them and them like teaching me be consistent with it, look professional, like just teaching me like the certain things about it. Once they taught me, I just ran with it and I never stopped. Like even today, you feel me?
Yeah, that's definitely true. You never stopped. You have countless platinum, gold, crazy billboard charting placements with artists or whatever. Um, but that is exactly true. You never stop doing that. What's kind of like your advice on that? Because some people they say like, oh, I'm not like I'm an industry producer now. I'm not doing YouTube, but you never stopped. Like, what are your kind of thoughts on that?
I look at it like the people who was there before, like they can still have access, because I mean it's 1,000 people out there who want to like use my beats, but they can't pay 5,000. You feel me? They can't pay 10,000. They can't pay whatever I would charge. You feel me? So it's like boom, they can just go get a beat that's the same quality. You know, it's not exclusive. It's not a lot of people got it, but it's like the sacrifice you gotta take. But you can still have like production from me. And then it's just like, I'm not gonna lie and say it wouldn't be about the money because it's like, why would you not access like another revenue? It's
Yeah.
literally free money kind of if you like really put in the work. You stay consistent, you post, you get, you know what I'm saying? You get paid for it. All you really have to do is take the time to be consistent.
Yeah, it's definitely true. I couldn't agree more. I always think it's kind of I'd see the logic behind it when people are like, "Oh, now that I'm doing X, Y, and Z, I'm done with
Yeah.
YouTube." But if it's something that you can do, I'm in the same boat as you. It's like, shit,
Now
damn.
everybody can do it. I mean, it's to a point where like if you got like a top 5 hit or like a number 1 hit, and it's just like you're not gonna just go backwards and be like, yeah, I'm gonna go to YouTube because it's like the amount of money you're probably gonna be seeing is just astronomical. So it's like it's certain situations, you feel me? I don't feel like I don't feel like I've even put in enough work to get off YouTube. You know, I don't feel like I've made hits, but I don't feel like I did what I needed to do to my standard. So I don't even feel like I put in enough work to say I want to be like exclusive, even if I wanted to.
Some people would disagree, but I don't know if
I
you'll ever
mean, you
I don't know if
know,
you'll ever get to the point where you think it's enough. But what when you started doing YouTube, when you started taking it seriously, I should say, at what point, how long do you think it kind of took, or like was there kind of like a moment when you were like, okay, this is working, where you're waking up every day, you have new subscribers, you're seeing random people on your beats? Was there like a time where it kind of clicked and you were like, okay, this is working?
it was probably like 2000, probably like 2018, or like probably like 2019. Yeah, it was probably like 2019 where it was just like I would just wake up. It was like in its peak. You feel me? Like YouTube was just going crazy. I would wake up, it was just be crazy amount of subscribers, sales. Like it was just unbelievable. Like I never thought it would get like that big that fast. So it was a time where it was just I would wake up, have like 30,000 views on a video in a day. You know, like it was crazy. It was a point in time where YouTube was just unbelievable, like what you could really make from it or what you could really do with it. So at that point, I was like, yeah, like I can quit my job, I can work, I can live comfortably off this. I'm actually seeing enough money every day to where like, yeah, it's real. You feel me?
Yeah. Yeah, it's nuts. I've been doing a lot of different work with YouTube producers, or I should really just say producers who have presences on YouTube, and like
Yeah,
some of the ways that some people are able to build it up to really start going is insane. But I think it's important to note too, you said 2019 is when it really kind of started clicking. That's damn near 3-4 years after you started making beats, and it's also almost 2, if not more than 2 years since you really started posting your very first piece of content on YouTube. So just shows to show, like, I think everybody will look at TnT and be like, I want to be that now, but it's like it was a lot of steps in the mean.
man,
Yeah.
that grind, man. I tell everybody, it's like you can't skip it. You feel me? Like the grind is gonna show. It's like you don't want to do it, but it's like you look back afterwards, like, yeah, I'm glad. Like I'm glad I went through every step I went through. Like it was hard. I mean, it's still hard, but it was just like it was just extra hard. The stuff I had to do, like steps I had to take. But when I look back on it, like it makes me appreciate it so much more. That's what keeps me working too. You know, keeps me grounded and keeps me humble.
Do you remember the very first placements you got off of YouTube, like who it was? Do you remember like when somebody was finally ripping your stuff off YouTube and rapping on it, and how you were feeling at the time?
Now it was that Mike Jones place. And, like, yeah, I ran around the house.
Yeah.
Yeah, like literally, like 100%. I ran around the house. It was like one of the best days. Yeah, it was, and he was a feature. You know, they just leased the beat. That was, but to me, Mike Jones, you feel me? He a legend.
Mike Jones, a legend.
Yeah, so I'm looking like shit. That's crazy for me. I'm running around the house telling everybody, you know what I'm saying? I got Mike Jones on the beat. I'm playing it for everybody and all. Like, yeah, it was a big deal though for everybody though, for real.
Yeah, it's insane. But once, yeah, Mike Jones placement, one of the first one, kind of kicks it all off, and then the waterfall from there is pretty crazy. I remember early on, you definitely had some stuff with like Cuban Doll featuring Rich the Kid, or
I remember that.
yeah, some
Classic.
placements. But one of the first ones was actually Academics, Lil Ac.
Yeah,
He hopped on a beat, and you guys started you guys had a song come out together. So you start working with Lil Ac, which I think is just funny because that like that's a type of placement that you had in the beginning that you got, all the way through to this point with like
yeah,
there's a lot of people who have kind of like placements in that kind of like lane that don't think, like, aren't proud of it, or don't think it's something, but like it's almost like a point to show that, you know, you're on the right track in a way, especially him, somebody that's super, super tuned into, you know,
Nah, that
on the
that was
internet.
tough. Like that was still like to this day is cool. Like that's crazy to me.
Yeah.
I mean, like I take that song like that's still cool.
Yeah. He actually performed it like 2 or 3 months ago too. I don't know if you've ever seen the video.
I ain't gonna lie, I probably don't want to see that one. Like
Yeah.
hell, I'd actually do that. Probably be funny though, for real.
Yeah. He opened for Tekashi. I think it was in Texas, and he was performing the song when he was opening for him.
Oh, dead. Now you gotta send me that link though. I actually do want to see it.
Yeah, I'll find it and show it to you. But yeah, so academics kicks it off. One of the first placements, QR Thuggin' For Real. I remember that was one of the first placements. And it just kind of starts going from there. What was it like early on? Some of the people that you definitely locked in with was Quando Rondo and also Jay the Youngin. You've had a ton of placements come out with them since that initial lock-in point. How did you kind of like lock in with both of them? Was it from YouTube or was it a different kind of more kind of personal connection?
Nah, I think that one. I got that one through Eli. Yeah, I think I just in a pack.
Yeah.
Like we had a session. We went to LA one time and had a session, and I ended up meeting him. Like the session didn't really go to like great, but you know, it was we got to like interact and actually like see each other for the first time. And that was when we had the Thuggin' For Real. Like so I mean that like we really like didn't know each other too well. But like I mean from that point on, like we would just like text sometimes. He'll DM me. I'll just like he'll give me his number, I'll text some beats. You know, like every like now and then, like probably like every 2 months, he'll hit me with a new number, like send me beats. And we'll just build. But like as far like JD Youngin, like I talked to him, I had like 3 sessions with him. And like that's the only time I really like ever talked to him.
Got it. Yeah, I remember those early you and Jay the Youngin days.
He was like,
After yeah, because you were definitely a big part of the Forever 23 project as well.
yeah.
And he really starts going crazy from that point. He starts dropping a lot. You end up getting a lot of placements with him. And yeah, it just kind of starts going nuts from there. Obviously, recently, we're looking all the way back in like 2019 right now, but you recently make a very strong appearance on Sincerely Kentrell, which
Yeah.
we're actually in 2018 right now. Let me correct myself. You recently make a very strong appearance on Sincerely Kentrell, but you were having YoungBoy snippets. I remember he was posting stuff on his Instagram all the time, even back in like early 2018. Like, how did you first start sending stuff through to him?
Nah, he took a beat off YouTube. And then from that point on, Eli reached out to me. I was saying Eli beats constantly. And we got probably, we got to have at least 100 songs. I know we got to at least have 100 songs. And it was just like, he was like one of my favorite artists. So I would always consistently make sure I got him like beats. I always make sure like, no matter what, I'm sending him beats. So eventually I sent him 1,000 beats. Like the odds are in my favor. So just over the years, I never really like lost contact with how to really send him beats. And it now just got to the point where like, you know, it's kind of like locked in, you feel me?
Yeah. Yeah. So at this point in time, you already have a lot of motion going. There's a ton of stuff dropping with people just based off of passive YouTube placements. And then, you know, like we said, there's stuff with those artists that we already mentioned. You also the artist Ener from Sweden, you had a bunch of stuff dropped with him as well. Rest in peace as he actually just passed. But you had a ton of stuff dropped with him. Speak to that a little bit. Do you think that kind of helped you as far as like the TNT brand when it came to like having global songs and things releasing, you know, really taking off in other places outside the US?
Nah, it really helped. Like, I mean, to have a platinum, well, like, what was like 6 times platinum, to have that in another country, you feel me? Like a place I never even visited. Like, that's crazy. You feel me? Like, people think I'm even from there. People DM me all the time in Sweden. Or like they'll be talking like, and I'm like, bro, like, I'm not, you feel me? because they heard my tag so much over there, they think I'm already from there. So it's kind of cool. Like I really said that I was gonna actually go over there to Sweden and lock in with him. Cause I have so many people that hit me up like, bro, just come over here. Like your name is going crazy. Like even Sweden producers like hit me, be like, bro, you giving us competition. You know, like, cause it's just like I guess so many people rock with the beats over there. Definitely.
Insane. That's crazy.
Nah, that's really insane to me. Like, yeah, I mean in Sweden, that's just crazy in another country.
All just from behind the laptop. Because I'm
Yeah,
assuming those first placements with him, maybe after you locked in and started sending stuff, but it had to come from YouTube, right?
yeah, I never sent him beats. Like, I never got a chance to send him beats. Like we talked, and it
Yeah.
just like never happened. Cause I mean he was a big artist, so I can imagine like it was kind of hard to really even get in contact with him. But I never actually like got to directly send him beats.
Yeah. Crazy. At this point in time, 2018 is coming to a close. And I remember, and I still think to this point that this is a really, really defining TNT moment, which is when YoungBoy Not Wrong Now comes out. That was, I feel like at the time, of course, YoungBoy was on. He was really, really excelling. But I remember like different types of people that was like when the rise of YoungBoy started coming, when like, you know, different types of people, you would just walk outside and like a random like car in like the suburbs driving by is playing YoungBoy, and he was like really, really, really rising to kind of like he never fully like went mainstream by any means. And I'm not saying that, but that was more of like when the mainstream kind of started to catch on to him. So
Nah, definitely.
an insane project, an insane track on the project. That was actually on the Ethica project, right?
Yeah, that's like they randomly dropped it on like their YouTube one day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember people were loving that, playing it nonstop. Is that the first official TNT YoungBoy song?
Nah, we had a couple. Like we had a couple before that. I think we had like two or three. Or I think we had probably like two before that,
Yeah,
if I'm not mistaken.
crazy. That's crazy. But yeah, I definitely feel like that was kind of like the beginning. That was kind of like the beginning of the TNT
Yeah,
takeover. Because 2018 comes to a close, 2019 kind of starts, and you have a ton of placements coming out with, you know, a lot of the artists we've already named. But then you have a really, really big one come out when YG dropped Stop Snitching.
yeah, that been crazy.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
guys actually linked up in the studio before that dropped, right?
nah, Tego did a session with him.
Tego did a session with
Yeah,
them. Shout out
it
Young
was. I think it was after it dropped, or
after it
after
dropped.
it was recorded. Like when we knew it was kind of like about to drop.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, that was a crazy situation. What did it feel like for that? Because that was like a real main like main placement with a, you know, a artist that's signed. Everybody knows who he is. Like
yeah,
he had a really big project come out, um, a really big album come out earlier in the year. So he was rolling with a lot of momentum because he had the Big Bang song with Nicki and Big Sean. He had a lot of momentum, and then that song comes out. Like, you must have been feeling on top of the world, and that finally dropped.
man. I thought my life was like gonna completely change. You feel me? I was like, man, this is the one. Like this is, you know. I mean, it did what it needed to do, but like, I was like, man. Well, I'm thinking like, all right, bet, like which mansion in the hills I'm about to get. You feel me?
Yeah,
Like I'm thinking that's how it works. I'm like, yeah, this about to go on one. Like I'm about to. I mean, but it was a good feeling though. Like it was definitely like a great feeling. I mean, because it was still massive.
yeah,
Definitely
it was massive. And if you were feeling on top of the world, then the remix comes out pretty quickly after,
crazy.
and that gets paired with a Cole Bennett Lyrical Lemonade video. And at the time, no ifs, ands, or buts, hottest artists hitting the scene, the baby on the remix as well.
Definitely.
Um, you know, what was that like? Just getting one with him, having that come out must have been crazy.
It was just it was unreal. I mean, it was just crazy. I mean, cause that was still like to this day. I mean, that's one of my biggest songs. You know, so I mean, I still feel like the feeling from it. Like it was old, but it's still a major song. You know, so I still feel it. Like it's still crazy. Like places like that is like I don't really like the feelings don't really go away from me because it's really crazy. It still be crazy to me when I get like places like that.
That feeling will probably never go away. That was a crazy one when I watched that drop.
Yeah, that was crazy.
the you keep building on the momentum too. Before we get into some of the next stuff, speak to that a little bit. Like, I feel like you are somebody who's done a really, really good job of two things. One, building with up and coming artists, and you continue working with them. You never really just have one song with someone and then you're done. You always
Yeah.
build with them. But two, you just keep building on the momentum that you have. Like, how are you able to just time and time again make sure you keep hitting, you know, those moments after a big one drops, you're already on to the next one?
I just send beats every day. Like if I got your number and like we locked in, I'm loading you up. Like you'll see me have like 6 on an album, but I'll probably send 1,000 beats. You know, I'll be sending beats for 7 months and all those beats just go. You feel me? But it's 5 of them beats that just make the album. And I'm like, cool. Like literally that's all I do. If I lock in with you, we're locked in. The worst thing you're gonna do is not text me back, you know, or change your number eventually, because that's what most rappers do. But if I got your number, we're locked in, I'm sending you beats. That's how I end up with so many, you know, because if I got your number and I know you're going to drop, I know you're a big artist, why would I not use it to my best advantage and just try to have half the album if I can, you feel me?
Yeah.
Like, especially like it's hard to get an artist number like directly. So if you get it, it's like take advantage of it.
Got to. There's two interesting things to that. One, you're obviously killing, a lot of success. Congrats on everything. Realistically, your percentages of like beats sent to Beats Place is pretty low, right? Like,
Man, low, like very low, like 3%. You know, I mean, I make it like over 1,000 beats in a year. You know, I'm making at least a minimum of 1,000 beats. So it's like, how many you see get placed? But it's like all those beats are circulating. So no matter what, like I'm making sure that every beat I make is going to get in the hands of somebody. Like even if it's a smaller artist, bigger artist, I want them every beat to get in somebody's hands. You know, because at the end of the day, that little artist can turn into a hit.
exactly. And we watched that time and time again with different people that you've worked with.
Yeah.
Stop Snitching comes out, remix comes out, insane. Shortly after, Rod Wave drops his PTSD project.
Yeah.
That is a really stapling moment for Rod. I think a lot of people think Hard on Ice is actually on that project. Shout out to Speaker Bangers
Classic.
song. I think that's 4 or 5 times platinum now. Definitely shout out to SB on that. How did you and Rod initially link up? Because you were heavy on the Hunger Games series before that too. But how did you?
I had 2 on there.
Yeah, how did you and Rod initially link up?
YouTube. Like
Yeah,
it was just beats on YouTube, just taking them off YouTube. Like even now, you know, I mean, that's how we got Soulfly intro. That's how we got a couple, like, but like the actual intro, that's a YouTube beat.
yeah. So for everybody, I feel like it's a common denominator that keeps circling back.
YouTube, man. Like
Yeah.
I don't regret doing YouTube for nothing. Like, you feel me? Like I'm glad I took the route I took. It made me, you feel me? It definitely, I'm like the YouTube route for me, definitely like I feel like I wouldn't have wanted any other way.
Yeah. From that's kind of a turning point. Rod starts really going crazy. I feel like TnT starts ramping up from there. AI YoungBoy 2 comes out shortly after that. We're getting close to the end of 2019 now. Lonely Child is obviously a big stapling song on there. Was
Yeah.
was the process kind of the same with that? You were still sending it to the same people in YoungBoy's camp, or was it a little bit different?
Nah, Ty sent that beat like a week before it was supposed to drop.
A
And
week
then
before
it
the
was like,
project was supposed to drop.
matter of fact, like a couple days, they was like, we need beats. He sent it probably a couple days. And they was like, well, we don't know if we're gonna put it on there, but we're gonna do paperwork. And I think it ended up leaking. And then it just kind of like went crazy. Like the leak was like, you know, and it was literally like a 50-50 chance. They was like, yeah, we may put it on there, we may not. You feel me? Then like audio of it leaked a little bit. Everybody was like, yo, we need this. So thankfully, like a little audio leak. Cause you know, I mean, he has 1,000 songs that could potentially be hits that he never dropped. So that really could have been one of them.
YoungBoy goes, Lonely Child goes crazy. AI
Crazy.
YoungBoy 2 is, a lot of people still say that's his best project.
I think that
It's up there.
It's solid, man. Really, really solid.
That was really like that was more so of because that was an officially label distributed project. I feel like that was kind of you had stuff before, but I feel like that was kind of the introduction of the TnT YB duo.
Yeah.
Because on that project, and to this day still, there's of course the heavy influence of like, you know, the This Is the Sound guys, a bunch of other, you know, young YB producers on there, but that was definitely a good kind of like initial introduction to the world of what YB and TnT together could do. In that same time frame, Rod comes right back with a huge music video to the Cuban Link song featuring Kevin Gates.
Yeah.
We actually that was a really cool moment for Tjay as well, because Tjay was kind of speaking to how he and Rod are from the same town, but he was never able to lock in. And then he made himself his own route and ended up catching one off a collab with you and Tego. What was that song like, and getting one with Gates? Because Gates is a legend, man. Gates is a superstar. What was it like to have one with him, especially with one of your main go-to guys and Rod?
Man, I'm trying to think. Was that a YouTube beat? That was probably a YouTube beat. I think, yeah, if I'm not mistaken. But like, when I ain't gonna lie, I seen him preview that. He previewed it on Instagram. But it was crazy when he previewed it, we thought it was just him. But then I think he was on like Instagram on his story one day, and we heard like Gates in the background. You know, like we heard it playing in the car, and we didn't even know Gates was on it. You feel me? So like that was like a crazy feeling. But like I think like he got that one off of YouTube, like just like everything else. Like I feel like he just has his process, and it just, you feel me, it works.
When it comes to initially, you didn't know how the song was going to pan out, if it was a feature, if it was going to come out, whatever. What do you do when it comes to so much of that stuff that's outside of your control? Because I feel like a lot of people get really like, oh, I gotta know. They start hitting up everybody who's connected to whoever. Yo, any news? Yo, what's going on with this? Like, what do you do to make sure you never really feel like that?
I mean, I'll probably stress about it for like an hour. You know, I'm human, so you know, I'll be like, dang, like boom, boom. I wish it could, but then I'm like, all right, bet. I can't think about it. If I think about it, it's gonna drive me crazy. Only time I think about a placement and get driven crazy by a placement if I know 100% is dropping, and I know what it's gonna do when it drops, and I'm just ready to see what it does. But as far as like just waiting, I'm like, forget it. You feel me? Like even it's sometimes like until 12 o'clock, I'm like, I don't know if this is on the album. You know, because sometimes you could do the paperwork you do and it just never drops. So it's like I just try to like not dwell on it and just be like, all right, bet I got this placement. Let's move on. Like, let's get another one. So our eyes are higher, you feel me?
Yeah, it's not out until it's out. That's
Not out till
fact of
it's
it.
completely out. Like 100%. Like is paperwork, it doesn't, you feel me? It
Yeah,
only means so much because an artist can change your mind, a label can change your mind.
it's not out till it's out. That's
Yeah.
definitely true. 2019, continuing in that year, Lil Tjay starts going crazy, and we saw the Tjay True to Myself project comes out. Really big moment in his career. It has a really, really solid first week showing for an up and coming artist. You end up with one of the more single like songs off the project, which is Decline with Lil Baby. How did
Yeah,
you even end up on the Tjay project? How did you guys get connected in the first place?
YouTube, like the common factor, YouTube. I remember it was it was some guy from New York. I think his name like Drew or something. He hit me up, was like, yo, TJ on this beat. Like, boom, stash it. I didn't really stash it. You feel me? I'm like, bet, like whatever, you know what I'm saying? He may be on, he may not be. I seen him post he posted a snippet of it, but I never knew Baby was on it till like the day like the track was posted. So like the whole time I heard the snippet, like a little like 15-second snippet, but I never knew Baby was on it. Like when I found out Baby was on it, it was just like a whole different level. You feel me?
Yeah,
That was just a YouTube beat, an NBA YoungBoy type beat.
insane. It's insane. YouTube really propels so much stuff for so many different people, and it's definitely gotten you so many placements. It's crazy, but it was all the work that you done put into it.
Man, if you put in the work, it's frustrating. Like YouTube is frustrating, but the payoff is just crazy. I mean, you know, firsthand, you know,
Yeah,
you know.
payoff can definitely be crazy from YouTube. 2019 comes to a close. There's two artists in particular that you really start going crazy with. The one thing again is you continue building with all the artists that you're building with. So even as we're talking to some of these bigger albums or bigger this or bigger that comes out, there's Quando Rondo stuff that continuously drops. There's
Yeah,
Jade Young and stuff that continuously drops. The artist Ener from Sweden, stuff keeps dropping with him. What did you do to make sure that you stayed locked in with a lot of those artists and it wasn't just a one placement kind of thing? Is it just as simple as you kept staying consistent, sending beats through to them?
yeah. Every time I get a plug or like any kind of access, I'm using it.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you give me any window, I'm gonna use it because it's hard to really get a connect. It's hard to really get somebody that genuinely wants to help you. So when I get somebody that genuinely like wants to see you actually work with the artist and wants to see you do good, like with the artist or make a hit, I'm gonna take that. Like, I'm gonna take advantage of it. Like you're gonna see my name every day. Maybe it's one beat, two beats, but you're gonna see my name because at the end of the day, you never know when the artist dropping. I'm gonna send you beats every day for 6 months. Like I may not hear anything back, but in my head, I'm like, okay, their number's still the same. They didn't text me and tell me to not send them beats, you know? So there's a chance they might use it. There's a chance they may not have. But if I send you 1,000 beats, you're gonna have to like one of them. So that's just, I wish it was like a different like blueprint or like a different way, but the way is just hard work, you know. God, that tops everything, you feel me?
Yeah, got to. What do you when you first lock in with somebody and you're able to send them beats, what's kind of some of your I got two questions. One, what's your kind of like procedure? Like, I'm sure you introduce yourself, you might do a little small talk or whatever. Do you get straight to the beats? How many do you send at one time? Probably try not to flood them too much. Like, what are you doing in the beginning intro point?
Like if I just meet an artist at a studio, I get their number. I'll probably like next day be like, boom, it's TNT. I'll probably sing like 5 beats. If you don't respond, I'm gonna probably wait like 2 days. You feel me? Like just to start off. Then I'm gonna send you more, and then you know I'm gonna just start that cycle. You know, you gave me your number because you know there's something that I offer that you like. So obviously, I'm not about to text you and be like, "Yo, bro, how your day going?" You feel me? But hey, I'm not gonna bother you. I'm not gonna be on nothing crazy. I'm just gonna text you beats. Like you're gonna see my name pop up, but all you're gonna know is just attached, like audio file, audio. So I mean, I'll constantly just every day, after that point where I feel like I'll send you and let you like breathe a little bit, then it's like gotta flood you.
I like that you kind of said too, like it's damn near straight to the business. Like you're there for a purpose and your purpose is to send them beats. 'Cause I think sometimes people try too hard to be like best friends with the artist and try to look cool and post stories and stuff.
Man, it's like I had to learn. I know what artists are my friends and I know where it's business. It's certain artists I can text and be like, and I'll hit up and be like, what's up? You feel me? But I understand our relationship. But when it's business, it's business. They got their own friends, they got their own life. They're human just like you. You feel me? Like they may not be trying to make a friend. Like they may just be trying to come to work and get the job done. So it's like you gotta feel it out and understand the situation. They may be cool, and if you do feel like that's the right situation, then you can play it. But yeah, you don't gotta be too friendly because you just never know. Cause you like they're human just like you. You feel me? So they may not be wanting to meet nobody new. They may be wanting to beat.
I'm also assuming some really good advice there. And I'm also assuming in kind of that straight to the business mentality, you don't do too much like, yo, what type vibes are you on? What style? Like this, you correct me if I'm wrong. I feel like you just make stuff that you think will go good for the artist and just send it through. You don't ask too many questions.
Now what's crazy is I do. Like I'm always, even when I play beats or I send beats, I'm always unsure. I'm like, I hope the artist like it. You feel me? So I'll be like, all right, hey, what type of vibe you on? I always try to see. They'll like, they'll kind of give me some people give me like the like description. But I always want to see like, you feel me, what you feeling. Cause the crazy thing is a lot of artists that I feel want certain type of beats, they just want pain.
They just want pain.
So I'm like, all right, this artist usually does this type of music. I'm gonna send them type. Whole time they really just want pain. So I'm glad I do ask sometimes, you feel me?
Yeah. Yeah, it's a smart move. It's a smart move. Do you the unspoken area of being a producer, when do you decide it's okay? At what point have you sent the same beat to two different people or whatever?
Now I'm gonna keep it real. It's certain artists I don't because I know it's like, all right, it's 50-50 every time they might use it, they might not. But then it's just certain artists I'm like, okay, I'm gonna sing beats. You're probably not gonna use it, but it's a possibility. So as soon as I make the beat, you feel me? I'm gonna keep like I'm gonna keep it real. It's going, like it's going. It's going. Like that's it. It's certain beats that I'm like, all right, I sent to this artist, I'm gonna keep it. But like if it's artists I know that I sent them beats for like 3 months, they never responded, never used it. I'm like, okay, well, they probably don't look at my beats, but I'm gonna keep trying.
Yeah.
But I'm not gonna hold the beat for you. But at the same time, it's like if you get on it, like I'm glad. But if you don't, I don't really expect you to. So, but if it's an artist like I know, like we got a close relationship, and I'm like, they like this beat, they're gonna get on it. I'll hold it because I know it's a good chance. You feel me?
Everybody better be taking notes. So yeah, like I said, 2019 comes to a close. It's two artists that you really start going crazy with. One, the legend Black Youngsta. You and Youngsta to close 2019. I feel like you had something coming out every other day. How did you and Youngsta initially link up?
He did a feature with somebody from the city, and I met him. And then like we was just like me and his team just kind of like stayed cool. And then his manager, I think, yeah, me and his manager now, like we're cool, you feel me? So like we just kind of just stayed around. And he's just like he's good people, you feel me? So like we can just come around, he just act normal. So really it was just like the music, we made so much music because it was just genuine.
Yeah.
Like it really wasn't like no business. It was like you can hit him up and actually talk to him. You can be around him and talk to him. So like, the music came back then. It was just so natural.
That genuine connection.
Yeah.
You and Youngsta go crazy. Shout out Youngsta, the legend. Next comes the next wave, which is the TnT NLE Choppa duo. And we've gotten too many crazy songs out of that duo so far. Decario comes out to close 2019. The Cottonwood EP comes out to close 2019.
Yeah.
You're on the Decario single, obviously. You make an appearance on Cottonwood. At that point in time, because Choppa is really coming off of being the Shot of Flow artist.
Yeah.
Shot of Flows are going nuts, don't get me wrong.
Going crazy.
Yeah. Being the Shot of Flow artist, Camelot, which is another Cole Bennett Lyrical Lemonade video, really propels him. Shout out Fresh Does It, killed it on that one. How did you and yeah, that's a banger. How did you and Choppa start working in the first place?
He had an artist. They wanted to beat off YouTube, and he DM'd me, and he gave me his number to send the actual beat like to his artist. And he just hit me, was like, "Yo, bro, send me some beats too." You know, got the number. So
yeah,
at that point on, it was like it was over.
Yeah, at that point you had the access, and you just start really going from there.
Once you give me that access, send me beats. Once you say those magical words, send me beats. There's no limit. Like, I'm not gonna just send 20 beats every day. You know, I mean, it's limited. Like, don't go crazy, you feel me? But like, yeah, I'm gonna make sure, like, Rod, before we was working on the Soulfly, like the Soulfly Deluxe, like I probably sent 500-600 beats. Like, literally, you'll just see our text that is just beats constantly. You know, I'm talking about months of just beats, but it's just like they see how many on the album, but you don't see how many didn't make it, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's those percentages again, but no, this is super informative, because you definitely, once you get the access, like you said, you just start going and taking full advantage of it. It's funny what they say. The guy wants to hear the 3 magic words, "I love you." TnT 3 magic words, "Send me beats."
Send me beats. That's the magical words. Like, once you say send me beats, I know it's gonna happen. It hasn't been a person that I had a number that was open to actually listening to the beats I've sent them. We haven't locked in, and I haven't like went crazy with it. Like, everybody you see me kind of like lock in and go crazy with, I actually had the opportunity to work closely with them.
Every time, just from taking advantage of that little tiny window of opportunity or access that you have. That kind of closes 2020 or 2019 rather. Choppa's Conwood EP. 2019 ends up being a really crazy, like, anchoring year for TnT. I still remember that post of all the placements from the year that you did at the end of 2019, which was just so many different artists on there, from really hot, raw, up and coming artists to major label artist placements. It was definitely really special to see. 2020 starts. Rod Wave Pray for Love drops. That was obviously a big moment for him. It had so many insane songs on there, and Urban Radio #1 and Rags to Riches. At that point in time, I'm assuming it's just the same process. You have the access, you just keep sending stuff through.
Like, really, for Pray for Love, nah, to be honest, with that album, I didn't send any beats. I didn't send one, not with that album. That was just strictly taken off YouTube.
Just straight taken off YouTube.
Like, he literally took every beat off YouTube for that album.
You guys
I didn't even have his number back then.
Yeah, you guys locking in the studio at some point around then, right?
Nah, we locked in actually like a year ago in September.
Got it.
For the first time.
Got it.
Florida. Like, I didn't even have his number. Like, he hit me. It was like, "Bro, send me this beat," because it was on YouTube. He's like, "Can you text me this beat?" I'm like, "Bro, I don't even got the number." So like, when he did that, It was actually Counted Steps. He said it was song. It was a beat. The Counted Steps he saw was like, send me this beat. I'm like, bro, I don't even got your number. So once he gave me his
Oh, it
number,
was.
you know,
That's
it
crazy.
was the floodgates open.
Yeah. Once the access opened up. Pray for Love, 38 Baby 2 drops. You continue plowing through 2020 the same way that you had in previous years, but one of the biggest artists that you locked in with in 2020 that nothing had been out with in previous years is definitely Polo G. When you end up on the GOAT project,
Nah,
a few huge ones on there. You lock in with Polo G initially the same way, or was it kind of a different formula to that one?
that definitely wasn't YouTube. It was I think it was in LA. It was me and Taj, and he had a session. And I just kind of like, I just really tagged along, you know, like it was really his session. And he was like, they was like, yeah, you can bring him. So I just came, and like, he's real picky. Like when it comes to beats, it's like you can play 1,000 beats. Like literally, he'll listen to 2 seconds and tell you to turn it. And he finally picked that one and did like the first verse and the hook. And he was like, yeah, I'm finishing that one. I'm putting that on my album. Like that night, he was like, yeah, that's going on my album. I
So
mean,
you guys,
people say that all the time. You feel me?
yeah, exactly. And it's not out until it's out. You guys are
Yeah.
you're in the studio with him, super top tier artist. It's your first time being around him, first time in the studio with him, obviously. And you guys are playing beats and he's just skipping to the next one with the quickness. You end up getting a placement out of it, but
Quick.
how are you feeling when it's just getting skip? Because I feel like we got to talk about some of the bad stuff too. Everybody's always just trying to show how cool they are and make everything be so like, look at all I accomplished. But we got to talk about some of that stuff too. Like, how are you really feeling when it's just skip next?
I hate playing beats in the session. Like I hate playing beats. Like I'm always like, I always feel like I'll go home and make 100 bangers. I'm like, yeah, these are bangers. And when I get in the session, I'm like, man, these aren't good enough. I'm like, man, maybe this song isn't the style. Maybe it isn't here. And I'm just like, it's nerve wracking. I mean, especially for artists like him, who's just skipping every one. You like, I only got so many beats, because you literally run through 50. Like you'll make a pack for a session. Like, oh yeah, you gotta have 30 beats ready for a session. But when you run through that new pack, you get into your old pack, you start getting nervous. Like, oh man. And then you finally click that one beat, and it's just like,
It makes it all worth it.
You click that one beat, and it's just like, they finally like, yeah, they start singing, and it's like, all right, you get your nerves start to calm a little bit.
That's what we're doing, trying to show that it's okay to be human and kind of worry, about some of that stuff. I feel like we all got it. 2020 continues to go. You keep killing. Polo G GOAT album is now platinum. Everything he's doing is just doesn't stop. You end up linking up with Jackboy around that time too. You guys super lock in, and he shouted you out in the Genius and the Genius lyric video, which is fire. You guys end up having a ton of music drop back then and to now even more. Did you guys link up the same way?
Matter of fact, what's crazy, it's a crazy story that nobody knows about how I ended up sending Jackboy beats. My friend was wanting to do like some work like Empire. So he was like, bro, can you send his pack for me? You feel me? And I'm like, bet. You feel me? Then he told me who it was. I'm like, oh yeah, definitely. You know what I'm saying? So I only sent the pack at first because of him. But I mean, when he told me who it was, I was like, yeah, for sure. But at first I was gonna do the pack regardless, you feel me? So like, but I sent it quick because I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna definitely send it quick because you feel me, my friend, you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna do something to help him out too. So I made sure like I sent the beats like ASAP. You know, so I made sure I stayed on top of it. And I sent Pressure. Like I sent Pressure. That was like in the first pack. That was the first song he sent me back we ever made. And it was a hit. And like we ended up like developing like we actually cool. Like we were just on 2K the other day, you feel me? Like that's my guy. Like that's one of the people I can actually hit up. You know what I'm saying? Like personally, like you feel me, what's good with you?
Yeah, whatever way you figure out to start working with the artist is cool, but there's nothing like building it from the ground up and just having that genuine relationship where you can send stuff through.
And I was about to say it was crazy, like having like that being the first song and Pressure actually being like the biggest song, you feel me? That's like actually the first song we made.
Yeah, that's nuts. It's crazy. Shout out Jackboy. He's going crazy. 2020 comes to a close. 2021, same old stuff from TnT. Choppa Top Shotta drops. Project goes nuts. Fredo Bang in the Name of G project drops. You and Fredo had been locked in. There was a lot of placements before we didn't talk about, but that starts going. Fredo's having a really huge year. Super happy to see that for Fredo. Top, one of the biggest songs of the year. Rod's single for Street Runner drops. Shout out to Payhouse too. Payhouse on there, kill it.
Man, shout out to Payhouse, man. Shout out to my guys at Payhouse. 100%.
Shout out to Payhouse. Carlton Banks, Lennon Blue, super legends. After that, Rod's project drops, but before then, you have one of the biggest singles of the year again. Lil Tjay, Fabio Foreign, Polo G, Headshot.
Crazy. That one's still like crazy to me.
That's a crazy, and that was surfacing on the internet as far as leaks and unreleased versions goes for a minute. When that happens, do you start to get worried that it might never drop because of that?
Nah, I knew 100% that song was dropping. Like it was never really, that was like really never a question. It was just like, what was he gonna get the version right? That was like the biggest thing. We had to like do a bunch of versions of it, and they ended up really picking the original. But it was like that was one of those songs. Like, all right, it was just put together. Like y'all have to drop it. Like everybody knew it was dropping. That was probably one of the ones that like that even before it dropped, I'm like, yeah, no question. Cause I was actually in like we was in the studio like when it was like being done and all.
That was a crazy single. It must kind of suck that you had to do all these versions just for them to pick the original, but whatever gets the job done for the place.
I would have did 1,000. I would have did 1,000 of them, man, for a song like that. Like, you know, I did 2,000 of them. Like, you know, it's a hit.
That's a once in a lifetime song. Shout out 101 Slide on there too. It was really good to see them have their moment.
Nah, definitely
Platinum. Headshot single comes out. Rod Wave Hard Times comes out. You're all over the Rod Wave stuff. After that, one of the hottest artists up and coming in the past year, Double XL freshman Moray drops his project, Street Sermons. At this point, how does TnT keep making appearances on every single hot up and coming artist project? What's the secret?
Man, literally, if I had like, I wish I had a secret because I would share it.
Yeah.
So it's like everybody could get it. You feel me? But it's like the secret is when you don't want to work, you gotta work. That's when you feel like when you feel like you've done enough, you probably didn't. You know, it's like when you feel like you want to be complacent, like you gotta work harder. When you feel like you sent too many beats to too many artists, you may have forgot the 5 artists in your phone that are coming up. You feel me? That like are working that have potential to make hits. You know, like all these people that I got the placements with wasn't the biggest. You know, like Jackboy, you know, he didn't have a plaque, but it's like now anybody would kill to work with him. So it's like don't be afraid to work with talent too, because talent turns into placements. And as far as like getting them with the placement that's already in, you got to reach out to people, maybe like even around them. And then when you do get that plug and you get that connect, don't go a day without using it. Because once you're not using it, somebody else finding the plug, finding the connect, they taking advantage of it. Now they forgetting about you. Like I'm gonna send beats every day. You can't forget about me because you're gonna see my name. You know, It's just like the secret is no secret. Like if you can work hard, you're gonna be straight. you know, and you consistent, you perfect your craft, you're gonna be good.
Crazy. Rod stuff keeps going. Rod keeps elevating. Moray project drops. One of the hottest artists up and coming in the past year. You're on there, and then it's right back to the major label or to the major artist placements with Voice of the Heroes drops.
Man,
You
that
end
was
up.
crazy.
There's not too many features on that project.
Man,
You end up
crazy.
with one of them with Rod and Luke. Shout out Luke too on there.
Luke, crazy.
What was it like being a part of that project? I've heard a bunch of different people who were on their project. They had a lot of different backstories to, they knew it was going to be on there. They didn't, they were waiting, they were hoping, but what was it kind of like for you?
Man, I had no idea. Probably like 3 weeks before it dropped. They Branger, she signed me at Warner. Branger hit me up, was like, she called me, was like, what who's on this beat with you? I'm like, what beat you talking about? She was like, Dirt Baby and Rod. I was like, you probably think it's somebody else, but it's not me. I was like, there's no way, like, I got a song with them. So she like played me the beat. And that's shout out to Rod. Like, that was me sending beats to Rod. Rod did a hook. I guess he was like, you know, I want to send this one out of all songs. He chose that one. It was just, that was all shout out to him.
Yeah.
Like, I ain't gonna lie, that's 100% him.
One of the craziest songs on there.
Crazy.
Next, come back with another big single, YB Nevada. That drops. How did that placement come about?
TikTok.
Crazy.
Like, I remember like it was on YouTube probably for like 8 months. It had like 2 million views on like a fake video. But then what's his name? Chasing Luke. He started dancing. He just started dancing to the video. Eventually it just started going crazy. And it was just like, you got 1 million TikToks on an unreleased song. It comes to a point where like, all right, come on, like, is I get it, but it comes to a point where you have to drop it.
You got to drop it.
And the crazy thing is, I never pressed for a song to drop, ever. I never pressed for something that like, they were like, yeah, this got to drop. But yeah, that's probably the only time I hit them was like, yo, like, you see this? You feel me? I'll never do that, but like, this probably the only time I ever did that.
Yeah. A lot of TikTok is making a lot of songs come out. A lot of people are starting to, preview a lot of their music on TikTok and just wait and see which song, what that goes the craziest, and then that's what they end up dropping. So TikTok is making hits for sure, both in the fact that released songs are out and then they're blowing up on TikTok and making it push up the charts, but also there's definitely a lot of unreleased songs that are catching steam on TikTok, and that ends up kind of being the deciding factor in the artist dropping it.
Man, I'm grateful that drop. Like, I'm grateful that song dropped, because I mean, it would have just been another, unreleased leak if he would never start making those videos. And like, I think it's probably gold now too. So that's crazy. Like, an unreleased song that's, you feel me, going gold. Like, that's really insane. Unheard of.
Insane. That drops. Pop Smoke's second posthumous album, Faith, comes out. You end up with the backdoor placement. How did that song come about? Ended up on a Pop Smoke album after he's unfortunately passed, of course, rest in peace. How did you end up making an appearance on that project?
YouTube. Yeah, he took that beat off YouTube in like 2018. It was a Quando Rondo type beat. 2018. Literally the factor, man. YouTube always does it.
Let me ask you this honestly: when the Shoot for the Stars, Aim for the Moon first posthumous album drops, did you think I had a chance to be on there?
Nah, I was supposed to have another song too, but they ended up changing the beat and like just like using it for like another song, and then that was supposed to be on there too. And then, but it was like the situation, what they told me, I mean, because you know the album dropped, so you know it's whatever. But it was supposed to be YoungBoy was supposed to be on it.
Got it.
They said YoungBoy didn't do his verse. They said that I guess they couldn't get like the verse done in time, so the album it was never on there. So it was really supposed to be on there with YoungBoy, like on the verse.
You were probably mad when it wasn't on the first one though, because there's no guarantees that there's gonna be a second one and that you would even be on there.
I was sick. I missed out twice. Like the first, like I did paperwork for a whole nother song.
Got it.
Like, so I missed out twice, you know, and it's like,
And it was a deluxe, so you kind of missed out 3 times.
no, the matter of fact, that's what happened. I missed out on the original, on the one that it was another song. The deluxe came around, they was like, oh, we have another song that YoungBoy's getting on it. And then they called me like a week before it dropped, was like, oh, we couldn't get it done, boom, boom. So I'm like, all right, but it's never gonna drop. I mean, I'm glad it dropped, but it was just like, that was a classic album. You know, like that's tough. That's a classic.
That was a classic. 2 more quick points to hit kind of as we wrap up. You end up with one with Thug on the YSL Mob Tie song.
Yeah.
The TNT and Thug combo was one that it's like the combo we never knew we needed.
Nah, that's tough. That really is tough. He's a legend.
Yeah, and shout out to him. Punk going crazy. And then, you know, most recently, everyone knows Sincerely Kentrell drops. And you have a little bit of a different role on that project. What was it like? So she's obviously legend, makes it all happen. He kind of brought you in on the creative process. Correct me if I'm wrong. So what was it like putting those songs together?
Man, I ain't gonna lie, like 100% shout out to him. Like that was just him just really knowing what he wanted. Like he would hit me and be like, yo, I need this exact vibe. Like I know exactly what we're aiming for. Like it was probably a stretch of 6-7 months from probably October up until probably a couple months ago before he went to jail. It was like beats constantly every day. I need not 5 beats, not 10 beats, 20 beats. Maybe not every day, but every other day. I need 20 pack, 25 pack, 30 packs. He run through eating beats, but I know exactly what vibe he wants. So I got it. Like it's easy. It's not easy, but it's more of a chance. You feel me? So like the creative process was just like you would get a call and it's just like, yo, we're on this vibe tonight. You don't gotta say nothing else but this. Boom. So from that point on, I'm cooking. In a day, I'm trying to knock out 20. So I can at least have him 20 or 30 beats because I know how he runs through them. So it was just like the process with the whole album exactly worked out. It kind of really worked out exactly how we really wanted it to. Because you know, you can say, oh, we're gonna drop, we're gonna go #1, everything's gonna be, but it kind of really, to see it from start to finish and it actually happened how it was supposed to was crazy. Cause you know you expect stuff in music, but you can't really, you know, it's a lot of times you expect #1s, you expect top 10s, and things in music don't go as planned.
Yeah, it's definitely oftentimes things don't go as planned. I think there's an element where a lot of things just have to fall into place the right way. But the underlying thing for you is just taking advantage of that access every single time. YouTube, and just working when you don't even feel like working. But
Man, work. Like I tell everybody, and they hate to hear it, like, cause when people DM me on my Instagram, they're like, "Yo, bro, what's the secret? Like, what you do?" I'm like, if I could tell you, if I could DM every producer that hit me and tell them like a secret, like a blueprint, I'm like, bro, I didn't do anything differently. I just did it my way. You feel me? Like it's different for me because it's my story, but it's not really any different than what the next man in front of me did. You know, they work hard, they grind. I just did it in my, like, you feel me, my own way. You know what I'm saying? Because you got to find your own path, but still see what other people did in front of you.
yeah, well, Can't wait to see what ends up happening next. Legend in the space, giving you your flowers now. The impact that you've had on people, the way everybody speaks to it, I think it speaks for itself. Like you said, the hard work, you definitely grinded in the dark for a long time to end up shining the way it is now with, you know, a different placement getting posted damn near every day. But we appreciate you hopping on big time. One of the craziest stories, one of the longest interviews we've done, the longest one we've done so far. But I really wanted to make sure we tried our best to hit a lot of those points and just keep hammering down how you kept working, did it off of YouTube, continued grinding with up and coming artists, stayed locked in with them as they continue to rise. But we appreciate it big time. The producer room, powered by producer culture. Like, comment, subscribe. Make sure you comment who you want to see next. You just might see them like TNT. TNT, who we doing next, man? Who do we need next on here?
Man, I'm trying to. Who do y'all need next? Because y'all did my guy. Y'all already did my guy, Forever Rolling.
We did roll in. We definitely did roll in. The Forever Rolling 2 interview is going to come sometime. I got to think who else we might need to do.
That's a good question. I'm going to help you with that.
Yeah, help me with that for sure. But we appreciate it big time. Like, comment, subscribe. Keep killing.
Appreciate you, man. Definitely.